Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of FPL Corner. As always, first of all, start off by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and commenting regarding your FPL team. Let me know how it's going. And we're going to go straight into my team today. Look at how I did last week, game week 10, what I'm planning to do for game week 11, and I'll chuck out some few tips for what players you might want to consider ahead of game week 11. So here we are with my team from game week 10. Looks like, as you can see, I finished on 55 points this week, which isn't too bad actually compared to the average, which was 42. So I'm quite happy with that. But obviously, I always want to do better. And the main thing, obviously, is that I got a green arrow. So I went from 248,000 to 182,000, which, when you consider there's 8.5 million players in the game, I mean, it's doing all right at this stage of the season. 10 game weeks in, it's doing all right. So this is how I did this week. The transfer I made last week, we didn't do FPL Corner last week, but the transfer I made last week was I went from Aspilicueta to Chilwell, and like I mentioned, I was going to do that anyway, right? So and I thought I'd go for it. I should have really went for Reece James in the end. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, right? But because Reece James scored 2 goals, kept a clean sheet. That's unreal. But Chilwell did alright. He got me 8 points. The defense generally did okay. Well, not really actually. Chilwell did good. Livramento came off the bench and did good. But Sanchez, Trent, and Cancelo, 4 points between them. Then moving into the midfield. Now the midfield did alright, but when you consider Salah, this form Salah's been on, getting just 1 assist from that game was a bit like, But then at the same time, pretty much everybody captained Salah anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference really to your rank. As long as you just captain him like everybody else, or get lucky he doesn't do well and you've captained somebody else that did well. Rafinha, happy to have him in the team. Now Havertz, it's a shame that I brought him in, to be honest. He hasn't really done what I expected him to do in Lukaku's absence. It's the fullbacks that are scoring. He got an assist for winning a penalty, so at least he got me some points. I'll probably keep him for another week. We'll go into that in a little bit. I'll probably keep him for another week because as long as Lukaku is still injured, still out, I'll probably keep him for the Burnley game, and then I'll be getting rid of him ASAP. I might still get rid of him this week, not sure yet. And then the front line is looking a bit. Jimenez has been doing well. He got me the 9 points, and he's done well in the last 5 game weeks. He's done all right, hasn't he? Really. But then you look at Vardy. Since I brought him in, he's blanked twice, right? And then you look also at Antonio, who I'll go into that in a minute, but I mentioned before that I was considering getting rid of him or, swapping him for somebody else, but Antonio is just someone that is very hard to get rid of, and I'll explain why in a moment. But yeah, so, the bench, like I said, Mbeumo didn't come on, so thankfully, Livramento came off the bench, gave me 6 points. Ben White got a clean sheet, Arsenal got a clean sheet. And so that's how I did this week. And I'm quite confused as to what I'm gonna do going into game week 11. All right, so let's look at my team at the moment, how it stands for game week 11. So this is the team at the moment, right? We've got Sanchez in goal, Ben White, Chilwell, Trent at the back, Mbeumo against Norwich, which hopefully he'll play and hopefully he'll do well. Havertz, still not sure about him against Burnley. Salah captain, Rafinha, Jimenez, Antonio, and Vardy. Now. And then you can see on the bench there, I've actually benched Cancelo, which is an interesting one because he's facing United. And in my head, I think, okay, United are gonna be better. Surely it's not gonna be another 5-0 thrashing like against Liverpool. But it very well could be, right? And then I could be quite annoyed leaving Cancelo on the bench if he gets a couple of assists. So I might change that. I might find a way to bring him on the pitch. But if I do, it'll probably be to get rid of Ben White because I don't trust Arsenal defense anyway. But yeah, so what am I going to do this week? I'm not really that sure. I might just roll the transfer. Might just leave it as, as the team as it is. Don't make any changes this week. And then go into next week with big plans and obviously have 2 free transfers. If I don't do that, then all I'm considering doing, let's do a little bit of tinkering here, right? Let's go to transfers. If I don't do that, then what I could consider doing is finally getting rid of Antonio because his fixtures aren't looking the best at the moment. I think he's got Liverpool next, Wolves, Man City, and or get rid of Jamie Vardy, or of course get rid of Havertz, right? Now, getting rid of Antonio is a bit of a weird one because um, only in terms of West Ham, right? West Ham are looking very good. Bowen is looking very good. That's a quick tip now if you're thinking of bringing in a cheap, I think he's 7.0 cheap midfielder. Let me check how much he is. He's not on. Yeah, he's 6.3. So he's not even he's not even 7. So if you're thinking of bringing in a cheap midfielder, save some money to go to get more money up front. Bowen is a good option, but in terms of West Ham, as you heard Jason mention on the last video, West Ham are probably the surprise package of the season. Only Liverpool and City have a better expected goals than West Ham, right? And on that note as well, only Salah has a higher expected goal contribution, I think, or expected goals than Antonio. So then it makes getting rid of Antonio a conundrum, really, to be honest, because you could either be trying to get ahead of the curve, get rid of him early, and hopefully do well, or keep him and just trust that he'll continue to do well. Because really and truly, even if you do get rid of him, you're gonna want him for it's far away, but you're probably gonna want him for game week 16, maybe game week 18, and so on and so forth. So I might just keep him and then try and make money from getting rid of Vardy. You can drop Vardy to a I don't know, Tony, and we'll go into that in a little bit. Quickly touch on captaincy again. You saw I was captain in Salah, right? And I almost don't need to talk about it anymore because Salah is just king, right, in terms of FPL. But just in case you didn't know, Salah is ranking top for all the key attacking stats. So there's no reason to, unless you're really trying to just go outside the box and do something slightly different. I promise you, it's probably best to just captain Salah at the moment, right? As things stand, probably best to captain Salah. He's ranking top for every key attacking stat. Well, most. I think he's fifth on one of them. So I think it's very important to just think about keeping Salah at the moment, personally. Like I said, I'm not really looking to make any changes. The only changes I'd make is maybe if I do this and I bring in like a Tony. Let me just quickly do that. So if I bring in like a Tony and save some money, and then I bring in and I'll explain why I'm doing this in a minute. Harry Kane, I can do that. I've got 0.2 in the bank, but that's another -4 hit. And Kane's fixtures right now, well, he's got Everton, which isn't too bad, but the next week is really when you're really gonna want Spurs assets. So because of that, let's get into the players that I think, if you're thinking of making some transfers, making some changes, maybe you're on a wild card, these are some of the players I think you should probably start considering or thinking about bringing into your team very soon. Firstly, let's talk about Spurs, right? They've just got Antonio Conte in, and everybody knows that Antonio Conte's bread and butter is the 5-3-2. He loves that kind of wing back system, and straight away that in your head you should be thinking, okay, let's go to Spurs, right? So straight away you should be thinking, okay, that means the fullbacks will probably be pretty good at Spurs, right? And you can only see Reguilon is their best defender at the moment. He didn't play last week, but new manager, he'll definitely play over Ben Davies. Ben Davies was absolutely shocking. And their fixtures, we just saw, are pretty good. Everton, if you want to wait 1 week, Everton haven't looked that good themselves, but if you want to wait 1 week, then go to Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich. That's a great 4 fixtures, right, for any team. With Conte in charge, that's even better because you'd expect them to do much better than how they were doing under Nuno. So players to consider: Spurs players, Reguilon, Son, or Kane. Now, as you can see with the changes we're looking at on my team earlier, I'm very heavily considering bringing either Kane in for the front line here, or going Havertz to Son somehow, make some money to get Havertz to Son, which would still involve maybe I'll keep Antonio, get rid of Havertz, and then go for Son. And then that way I've got 2.4 left in the bank. I can even go upgrade Tony to somebody else. Maybe upgrade Brownhill. Maybe go for Reguilon in the defense as well for Ben White, or it gives you more options. So I definitely recommend thinking about Spurs players. Secondly, I'd actually recommend looking at Emil Smith-Rowe. I don't know if you remember when a couple of weeks ago I brought in Saka instead of Emil Smith-Rowe, but he's actually been doing really well. The last 3 since I did the Salah move, if I'd just gone for ESR, Emil Smith-Rowe, I probably would have got, well, I definitely would have got a lot more points, right? He's done really well over the last 6 game weeks, 5, 6 game weeks. 12 points against Tottenham, 2 blanks against Brighton and Crystal Palace, but then Villa and Leicester, he's done really, really good. And they've got Watford next game. I think they're. Let's look at their other fixtures actually. Yeah, the fixtures are a bit in and out, so maybe now's not the time to be bringing him in. But if you have him, probably stick with him for at least another week, and maybe you could even bench him for the Liverpool game and then play him again for the Newcastle game. But yeah, so Smith Rowe. Thirdly, I say this all the time: Chelsea and Man City defense. Yeah, if you don't have Chelsea Man City defenders, if you're on a wild card, get them in. If you're not on a wild card, find a way to bring them in. I'm sure everybody that is serious about FPL right now probably has at least one Chelsea or one Man City defender. But once again, I'd definitely recommend getting them in. If you don't have any right now, probably going back to what I said previously, Chilwell and Reece James are excellent options, right, for Chelsea defenders. But obviously there may be a bit of rotation risk because they're both facing against either Aspie for might play on the right against instead of Reece James. Obviously Aspilicueta can also play centre back, so maybe less of a rotation risk there. But Chilwell has Alonso to consider, and Alonso might come in at any given moment. You don't know, so always bear that in mind when you're going for the Chelsea players. But City, I think you have to go for Cancelo, right? Because it doesn't mean he's not gonna get rotated. This is Pep we're talking about. He probably rotate him this week because he played in the Champions League, but who knows, right? So I definitely recommend getting City and Chelsea defenders. I've mentioned it before, but City's defense is easily the best in the league. They have only I think their expected goals conceded is 6.73, whereas second place to that is Crystal Palace with 10.52. So they're so much better than anybody else in terms of giving away chances, giving away goal scoring opportunities. So on that note as well, actually, I guess you could consider looking at Crystal Palace. Let's look at their fixtures, but you can consider looking at Crystal Palace players if you want a cheap defender, make some money. Tariq Mitchell has been looking decent. Like I said, their expected goals conceded the second best in the league. So they're least likely to concede goals. They've got or second least likely, obviously. They've got really good fixtures coming up against Wolves, Burnley. So it might be a good opportunity, time to go for someone like Tariq Mitchell, or even this Guehi guy, because I think he's done quite well as well recently, underlying stats wise. So yeah, those are the players that I would consider, and I am considering. Like I said, I'm considering going for the Spurs, particularly, boys. If I could do Spurs, Son and Kane, maybe I'll do that, but that might be too hard to manage. So this week, I'm probably going to roll my transfer, so that I can have the 2 free transfers and use that for next week to try and bring in some Spurs players. It would be good if I could do it this week, but I'll just hold fire for a little bit, and hopefully there are no major issues with my team between now and next week. So yeah, let's leave it there, and I will see you on the next video. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like on the video, comment on the video like I said earlier, and subscribe to the channel.